310864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach of Oregon.
Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on a Thursday. It's game day for Oregon soccer. They're down in the southeast in Fayetteville, ready to play a top 10 opponent in Arkansas. Keep in mind that game got pushed an hour yesterday due to extreme heat in the area, so originally scheduled for 4:30 Eugene time, now 5:30 Pacific time, 7:30 local time. That game tonight for Oregon soccer. Oregon Volleyball, they're getting their season started tomorrow against San Diego. They will be playing all weekend long in Hawaii. We will talk about volleyball, what this season is going to look like, how they're going to build off of last season, and more, continuing to move forward in the program. And Oregon football today, an off day for the Ducks as they transition from fall camp into Portland State week for Oregon football. There will not be any media until Monday for Oregon football, but still the usual practice schedule because of the transition from fall camp where we seemingly had interviews and availabilities every single day. It now is going to be the first real lull we have of the season, so we're going to do our best to get to all of the media availabilities from the student athletes, from the coaching staff over the last few days that we just weren't able to fit into the show over the course of the week. So we will get to hopefully all of those, maybe a few of those today, tomorrow, and Monday before we hear from Dan Lanning on Monday night as we continue to move forward towards Portland State. The schedule for football changes up a little bit because now we are going from camp into a weekly schedule, so it's going to look more like what the weeks of the actual season are going to look like. There's just a little bit of moving parts in that. So on the media side of things, won't have anything new until Monday, but we will get you all caught up with what we've missed on Duck Insider over the last few days. To get an exact schedule of what these next few days are going to look like for Oregon football, Dan Lanning talked a little bit about that yesterday if you got his media availability on the show. Today is going to be a meeting day for Oregon football. A lot of the coaching staff and players are going to do their meetings, go over some film. Really, it's a recovery day for the players today and to get everyone on the same page. Tomorrow and Saturday is going to be a practice day for the Ducks. Just like any other practice day, we're just not meeting with any of the players. And then on Sunday is going to be a lift day and a recovery day for the players until we get back to Monday, which is where practice is going to ramp back up. A little bit of a reason why Oregon does that during the season. It's going to be generally a Sunday off day for the most part, or a Sunday recovery day after a Saturday game. So getting the players in line with the schedule of what it's going to look like for the season, that's really what this week is looking like as a transitionary period from fall camp into Portland State week. That's a little bit of the minutia that goes down on the football side of things. But because of all of that, we do have some media availabilities that we haven't got to over the last few days for Oregon football. And there's some really, really good interviews in there that I'm shocked that they didn't get into the system just because of how good they are, but we've had good content. We've had good content throughout the week. We got to see a little bit of some of the interviews that we missed on the Tuesday preseason show with Joey, Georgie, Jerry, all in studio here. That was at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. The typical coaches show will be at 7 o'clock on Wednesday every week. That's starting next Wednesday with Joey, Jerry, and Georgie. But if you missed Tuesday's preseason special, you can go back and watch that. It was live on YouTube, live on Facebook. And you can see some of the moments that we got from fall camp, because they're some of the best moments, and some of them are from interviews that we haven't run yet, including defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoi, who was the final thing that we ran on the show on Tuesday, because I think it was the funniest. It capped out fall camp really with a bang. So Tosh Lupoi, he talked with the media 2 days ago, and he had a lot of things to say, and you're going to want to stick around for the end of this interview, because I think the funniest part is all the way at the back end. Some insightful things from the defensive coordinator on the football front, and some humorous things from Tosh Lupoi as well. Let's hear from the defensive coordinator.
Mateo that enables him as a true freshman to be in the position he is for you, possibly be an immediate contributor?
Yep, well, it starts with the good Lord, his genetics, his parents, and then from there what he's done from a work ethic standpoint. I think one really cool thing is what you get typically with a Bosco individual. Coach Negro and Coach King have done an elite job of preparing those young men, and I've known the DC there all the way back to the Alabama days. We've had a strong connection, and it's pretty cool to know there's a lot of carryover schematically, within the defense. So I think he has a little bit of a head start. Obviously, when you arrive here mid-year, it's an enormous advantage when you got the type of work ethic that Mateo has, as far as working, not just when the camera's on, but guys constantly in the meeting room, constantly challenge himself to fix his mistakes. So he's done a nice job.
Heard a lot of really good things about Blake Purchase this fall. What have you seen from him since he got to town?
Yeah, another gifted young player that we're excited about. He, unlike Mateo, came here in June, so you're certainly behind the curve, from a schematic and preparation standpoint. Done a really nice job of retaining the information. And again, that's our goal here. I think really committed to is bring as many young men with alike mindsets, and not necessarily just about the talent, but going through the recruiting process and evaluating these young men from not just how they're playing on the field, but from a character standpoint, from a football IQ standpoint, from a mental toughness standpoint. And Blake's did a nice job representing all those attributes.
What was your assessment of how your guys performed in the scrimmage Saturday?
I think we've always got room for improvement. It's been an enormous focus of our culture to attack the ball. So I've been impressed the way the guys have done that. I think we're doing our best to recognize where we went wrong last season from a third down winning standpoint, from a pass defense standpoint, and I feel like the guys have approached the preparation the right way of trying to improve that, and that showed some on Saturday.
The first scrimmage, I think Dan talked about how the offense started pretty well, and then the second scrimmage, he made it sound like he thought you guys started pretty well. I don't know, did you challenge your guys to maybe start a little quicker? And if you want to see improvement from one scrimmage to the next, is that an area where you said, hey, my guys came out ready to play?
Yeah, it's always important for us to debrief of what's happened last. So, our attempt is to always never have wasted pain and improve from the last performance. So, absolutely, I think the first scrimmage, our first drive, was somewhere in the 12 or 13 play range. And this last go around, all three groups were able to get off the field. The first group still hadn't extended. They allowed a long third and long conversion, and then had a nice red zone stop. And then the other groups, ended with a turnover and I believe a 3 and out. So we're always trying to do that. And what we do is, we show them the information, the statistics, what happened the week before, where we went right, where we went wrong, and try to better that every time we come out.
Through 3 weeks, I mean, what have you learned about the competitive character and the toughness of your defense?
Yeah, we're growing every day. That's the challenge. So, we've got this opportunity, in front of us when we wake up. And so it all starts with the coaching staff of the juice we're bringing, how we're approaching the meetings, the attention to detail, the organization, and then, challenging each player, to carrying that same focus out onto the field, the walkthroughs, the individual drills, and then, of course, the competition of team itself. So I think these guys have grown. I think these guys have certainly answered the bell of a lot of these turnovers have occurred because of the relentless effort, and challenging those guys, no matter how hot it is or what the smoke level is, or it don't matter. It's our opportunity to improve, and that's how we're trying to approach every day.
Whether it's third down or pass rush and the areas you're looking to improve, talk about wanting to be respected and feared defensively. What are the end results? What are the targets for this group to where you feel like you'll have not just improvement, but to reach the level you want to reach?
Yeah, I mean, for us to be a respected and feared defense, we got to get off the field on third down. We've got to affect the passer. So that's part of it. So every single day we're challenging the guys that, we're charting our competitions, how many times we won or lost versus the offense in a third down drill or a 2-minute drill, stimulating that competition as much as possible. And again, we feel like now that we've been here for, I think it's now 18 months as a staff, it's awesome when you can really hone in and implement the culture that you want to push and bring in young individuals that have a like mindset to push that, and that's where I think you start to really grow as a program, and that's our goal.
A lot of the interior defensive linemen added weight this past year. Was that a goal in particular for that group, where like the defensive line, I think, added across the board about 50, 60 pounds from the starting group alone? And what does that do for a guy like Casey in particular?
Yeah, I think, Casey arrived here last year in the late summertime, didn't have spring ball, and was coming off of an ACL. So he certainly pushed himself and almost, threw himself in the fire almost, as far as escalating his treatment and aggressive rehab. So I think Casey's now, doing his best to try to recognize that his health and his power, he's someone that's really powerful in the weight room. That's what I'm really challenged Casey at, is to try to translate that power onto the field. Obviously, we didn't have Popo last season. Popo is a great addition for us that offers that a size-speed combination. The additions of Jordan Birch, along with some quality young players. It starts up front, and so we made a big stride last season. Obviously, until the last rival game, having a real poor performance on defeating the run, building up to that point, being a top 20 rush defense, and ending. I think we ended as the 30th. Best rush defense in the country. Not to our standard, but it's a place that where we grew, and that's a place that we want to continue to grow on. For us to be successful or to be able to compete at the level we want to, we've got to stop the run.
From a live tackling standpoint, how ready do you think this team is for an actual game setting?
Well, we'll find out here soon. So, I can give you predictions or guesses, but you always find out, if you look at the body of week one across the entire nation, you look at week one and you look at the bowl game.
DC in all of the land right here.
Who is this?
Yes.
This is the guy.
Yes, this is him.
If you look at, that pattern, that's where the most missed tackles occur, and that's where the most penalties occur. So that's what we're going to be challenging our guys of, is playing with discipline and control, and making sure we could tackle individuals like this.
Look at this freeze frame at the end. Will Stein, if you're watching with us on YouTube, Facebook, live in the 1 o'clock hour, Will Stein, full smile, and Tosh Lupoi just arm around him, together as one, the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. That is synergy right there. That is the sign of a coaching staff that has it together. They're just so connected. I love the way that picture was at the end, where it's just like someone looking at Will Stein the way that Tosh Lupoi does. Find someone to look at you that way. That's exactly the way that things are supposed to be. Every coaching interview brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. I also liked what Tosh Lupoi said in there about no wasted pain, especially when talking about the defensive front. It is a physical game of football, and there is going to be pain on the football field. That's just kind of the price you pay by playing. If you're going to step on the football field, make sure that the other team feels it more than you do, and don't waste it. Don't waste any of that extra pain, because there is going to be some. There always is. It's a violent sport. It's a physical sport. But this is a team and a coaching staff that has been predicated on making sure that you hit someone before you get hit, and speed and attacking the football. I like the way that this identity has surrounded the defense, especially, but the entire team. And I think that Tosh Lupoi hit the nail right on the head when he was talking about no wasted pain. I know that Jerry Allen liked that quote on Tuesday. I like it as well. I think that that's a strong and violent defensive quote from a group that hopes to be feared in some of those same characteristics. So I like what Tosh Lupoi brought to the table. When we come back after this timeout, we will hear from more student athletes on the offensive side of things. So we're going to take a break on Duck Insider, and we'll be back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studios, Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. I want to shift from defense to offense. We just heard from Tosh Lupoi talking about violence and pain and with the offensive coordinator, Will Stein. And let's talk to some of Will Stein's players. On the offensive line, Stephen Jones, one of the few offensive linemen who started last year who is going to be a holdover onto this year's roster. The offensive line, a unit that has experience. You think about some transfers, Nishad Strother from Eastern Carolina, Junior Anguilau from Texas. They're coming in with experience to this offensive line, and there's also some players on the offensive line last year that weren't primary starters that got a lot of action that are now going to be on this year's starting offensive line. Still a lot to decipher in that offensive line unit, but Stephen Jones, someone who got a lot of action last year, someone who is probably familiar to fans of Oregon football. He talked with the media a few days ago, so let's hear from one of the experienced offensive linemen on this Oregon offensive front.
Hello. What can you take from your own experience in 2019-20 and being part of that group that had to replace the prior year's group?
I would say the biggest thing is that a lot of people on that team were selfless. Everyone did everything for the team. And we had a culture at that time that forced everyone to uphold the standard of playing for the team. So playing with a lot of selfless players on both sides of the ball, I think, is what really helped us have a lot of success that season.
Do you take on a certain onus as you're the only senior who's been here for all 6 years? Do you take a certain onus of that for the room, for the entire offense, maybe even for the whole team, of being that bridge guy who knows what it was, knows what the standard is?
I mean, I'd say so because, like you said, I'm the oldest one here, so there's not a lot of guys left who are a part of that team and part of that program to see what it took to get to the Rose Bowl that year. And, you know, being the oldest, naturally, I think a lot of guys look up to me and look to me to see what the standard is and how to go about the everyday process of being a collegiate athlete. So, and I take pride in that, and I've been trying to take the most pride in that throughout the whole entire season, make sure everybody else is ready, not even just in my position group, but the whole entire team.
How do you describe that standard to somebody who doesn't know, and short-term memory loss, forgot what 19 was? If you had to tell one of the freshmen, wasn't here, doesn't know it.
I'd say the biggest thing is the little things. Even when you walk onto the field, no walking on the field, you got to jog everywhere you go. You got to have a sense of urgency to yourself. If you see one of your brothers isn't doing too good, be that one to pick them back up and make sure they keep on going, and to stay within their head, because once you start to mess up a little bit, especially in practice, you start to lose focus on what's important, and you start to make even more bad plays. So I think just the biggest thing is just, upholding that culture of, next play mentality, our DNA traits, everything that we always stand by, and just reiterating that throughout the whole entire group.
The time so that you guys can go 8 deep on the offensive line. How do you feel about the depth of that unit right now?
I think it's good. I think this is one of the years that I've been with that we didn't really lose a lot of players going into fall camp. I mean, last season we had a lot of injuries, which kind of hindered us going into the season. But this year we got a lot of guys who can step up just in case someone does go down. I think that's really beneficial, especially for O-line, because it's such a heavy contact sport. Every single play, you got to have dudes to be able to step in when they need to.
As James said, you've been here for a long time, but nothing was handed to you this fall in terms of the competition. What was your mindset entering, and kind of how have you felt you've handled that this fall?
My biggest mindset was just to make sure that not only me, but the guys next to me are all ready to go. 5-as-1 is something that we always say before every single play, and that's 5-as-1 means that we're all playing together, us 5 linemen. So I think just the biggest thing in my mindset was just make sure I'm ready, make sure I know the whole entire scheme offensively, and make sure that my teammates next to me know the scheme so we can protect whoever's behind us.
Coach talks about good to great and porcupine concept and these things he's preaching to you guys. As an older
hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
Yeah.
What, do you know the origins of that as an older guy? Do you bother to look up that comes from a book and things, or do you find the book? Do you care? Does it matter?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really sure what book that comes from, but I mean, I think it makes sense what he says. Know your hedgehog. That kind of means know what you're good at and master that technique. There's a famous Bruce Lee quote, I don't fear the man who does 10,000 kicks once, but one kick 10,000 times. I think that makes a lot of sense. Once you practice something so much that you can't get it wrong anymore, that's what's going to help you succeed throughout football. And I think just with all the other DNA traits that he says, connection, growth, toughness, and sacrifice, that's what it takes to win games. Connection, you got to be able to connect it. 5-as-1, essentially at the O-line. Toughness, I mean, as an offensive lineman, you got to be tough, or else you won't last. Sacrifice. Offensive line is a sacrificial position. We never touch the ball, but we're always out there going, full speed and whatever it is. And growth. I mean, even when you mess up, you got to learn from that, get back to the drawing board, and get back onto the field and execute it properly the next time.
How has Junior in particular pushed you this camp?
Me and Junior were kind of in the same boat with injuries last season. Unfortunately, we both had an injury during our senior season, which can really hinder a lot of players. But when he came in, looking how messed up he was and seeing that fire in him, he has that drive to just want to keep on going even when he barely can. So I take a lot of pride and I have a lot of respect for that man, because if you want to know the definition of toughness, he's the definition when you look it up in the book, because that man you can see it in him. He's going through a lot, but he's always pushing through, and I think that helps the offensive line when you talk about toughness, because when you see a guy like that who, is still battling through everything that they're going through, as well as me, as well as guys like Ope, who are battling through a lot of stuff, and when you see them keep on pushing, that makes you want to go even harder.
How ready do you feel Jackson is to be the every down center?
I think he's a really good center. I think he's shown that over the last couple of seasons. I know he's doing things right now, and he's looking really good. I'm excited to see him work, and I like working next to him.
I feel like this year's a little different, Steven, compared to last year, in that, like, last year, as good as that group, and that was a really good group. You guys, like TJ and Salah, were a tackle, and now at the next level, they're a guard. All right. You feel like you guys are maybe more in your natural positions this year than last year? I'm not criticizing last year. You had a great unit, but the guys are natural tackles, natural guard, natural center, more so this year than maybe last year?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but at the same time, we rotate all the time. So your natural position is offensive line. You better be able to play off all four or all five or whatever it takes. So I think right now, I think we're all feeling good with where we're at, but we're all not afraid to go on the other side of the ball if we need to in order for the team to win. So.
You're primarily right guard, though. Is that accurate or no?
Yeah.
What's Johnny done over the last couple of weeks, even beyond spring, to show that he's ready for this level?
I mean, shoot, he's a really tough player out of New York. I love playing next to him. Me and him have great communication. We have a good chemistry onto the field. We talk about it all the time. Sometimes it looks like he's out of his body, but he's able to bring it back in and, control the block. And I think that's really impressive as an offensive tackle. And I'm excited to see what he does this year in the Power 5 with us.
Coach has said kind of mental mistakes halted you guys on Saturday scrimmages, false starts, that kind of thing. What goes into correcting those mistakes and making sure you're right for game one? Because obviously a guy knows when he makes a mistake.
I think the biggest piece is emphasizing that in the film room. You can easily make a mistake and just be like, oh, I'll get it done next time. No, you got to go into the film room, watch it over and over again, see why you made that mistake. When it comes to false starts and, being offsides and stuff, I think that's a mental error that pre-snap you can avoid that by just making sure you're locked into the cadence and locked into whatever's going on the field. So like we say it all the time, DBO, that means don't beat ourselves. When you beat yourself in the game, you won't succeed. So if you could take away those mental errors such as false starts, offsides, all that, I think we'll be good to go.
How do you guys feel you've been as a unit so far with that? Do you feel that Saturday scrimmage is maybe an aberration, or are you still working through some of that stuff?
I think the Saturday scrimmage, it was just a hard-fought battle between offense and defense. Defense got a little bit of the upper hand, which is all good. I mean, I would hope my defense got the upper hand on us sometimes, throughout scrimmages. But I think overall, as an offense, we have really good chemistry. I think we all trust Bo whenever he's in the backfield. We don't have to worry about a running back, whether it's Bucky, Noah, Jordan James. It doesn't matter. They're all going to run downhill. And the offensive line, I think we're really in tune with what we need to do and make sure that we're working together at all times. So I'm really excited to see how the season goes. I'm really excited to work with everybody.
What's been the toughest D-line matchup for you so far this camp?
Toughest D-line matchup. Playing at tackle, we have some really good edge rushers, Brandon Dorfus, Jordan Birch. Surprisingly, Mattel, he's a young cat, but he comes in like he's already been doing this for a couple years now. Going into the interior, we got big guys like Taki, Casey Rogers, Popo. It's so nice to go against Popo because he's one of our best D linemen when he's healthy. So, just going against him every single time, I know it's going to be a battle, and I'm excited for whatever it takes.
One of the experienced offensive linemen on this Oregon unit, Stephen Jones. And I really like the answer to the question that he gave, where what position are you? Are you a tackle? Are you a guard? Is everyone fitting in? Our position's offensive line. And the coaching staff has echoed that sentiment throughout camp. You're going to need 5, 6, 7, 8 guys on your offensive line to play all 4 and 5 positions across that front if a team is going to be successful. Not only running the ball, which Oregon's got 2 pretty good running backs back there in Noah Whittington and Bucky Irving, as well as Jordan James and an entire stable of backs in that backfield. And a pretty good running quarterback as well in Bo Nix, who needs to be protected in pass pro and needs to be protected when he's scrambling with his legs as well. And the versatility across that offensive line, whether it be the transfers who have come in with Cornelius or Angulau or Strother, or whether it be some of the guys that have been here before with Connerly and Harper and JPJ or a Stephen Jones, they're all going to be useful contributors on the offensive line to make sure that the skill position players behind them continue to have as successful seasons as they have been having over the past year, 2 years, and their entire career. Because the Oregon skill position it is strong, especially in that backfield when you look at quarterback and the two-headed monster behind Bo Nix in that backfield. And it's all of those big guys up front who are blocking for him that are making it happen and getting the job done. But we know about the guys who have been here before. When we come back after this timeout, we'll hear from some new faces of some guys who transferred in this season, going to get their first action in the green and yellow coming up on September 2nd. You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Ryan Milano back in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. We just heard from Stephen Jones talking about mixing it up on that offensive front to block for some of the Ducks that are running behind him. Someone who might do a little bit of blocking, might do a little bit of receiving as well. Casey Kelly, a transfer from Ole Miss coming to this Oregon program. Casey Kelly spent 3 seasons with the Rebels and played as a true freshman, played all 3 years at Ole Miss, coming with playing experience to an Oregon Ducks tight end room that already has some talented bodies in it. I think that there's depth across that tight end room, and Casey Kelly, a big reason for it. We heard from him 2 days ago talking to the media. Let's hear from the Ole Miss transfer tight end.
What role do you feel like most home at tight end? Like, is it H? Is it Y? Is it which of the various roles at tight end do you feel like that's yours?
I mean, definitely just wherever they decide they want to put me at, I feel I'm going to do it at the best of my abilities and accomplish the goal that's asked of me. And, you know, I mean, we've been moving around every which way, all of us. So, I mean, it's been going well so far.
I feel like you're kind of settling in, getting comfortable with everything. I know you haven't been here that long, but kind of how has this camp been, I guess, personally for you?
Yeah, definitely. The offense has been awesome. I mean, I love learning new offenses. I mean, that's one of my great things. I love football in general. So, you know, just learning new schemes and, you know, how to do different things. It's been really good to learn this one specifically. And, you know, I feel like I've been picking up on it great. And, you know, we just got to keep learning and keep getting better every single day.
What's the biggest challenge in learning a new offense? Is it simply just learning the plays, or is it going out there and doing them?
Yeah, definitely. I would say more verbiage. You know, everywhere across the country, you kind of hear different verbiage and ways they call different things, way they call doubles or, you know, triple calls. I think that's definitely the biggest thing. And then obviously you got to learn new hand signals and stuff like that. But, yeah.
How far along has Kenyon come since the spring to now?
Well, I wasn't here in the spring, but when I got here in the summer, I mean, he just gets better every single day. I mean, he's a strong kid. He's focused. He's hardworking. I mean, he does what's asked of him, and, you know, we can't ask for much more.
Are there any similarities between this offense and what Lane was running at all? Or?
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have a lot of similarities. It all comes from the same tree, essentially. You know, just like I was piggybacking on, you know, just different verbiage and the way things are called. You know, we still run guard, tackle, pulls, tight end pulls, you know, tight end roll-arounds, perimeter blocking rules. You know, all of it is very similar, just kind of the way we scheme things up and call it out is a little bit different.
Are you aided in terms of your knowledge of the playbook just because you played quarterback before? Does that help at all in terms of how you focus on that sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, especially having my brother and my uncle too, you know, I just grew up in a quarterback family, and playing quarterback especially, you kind of see where you want the receivers or tight ends to be on the field, and I think that definitely is a big help to my game because I kind of can feel, okay, he probably wants me here. He's more comfortable with me being in this position rather than this position, so definitely I think that's a plus for me.
What makes Tyshim Johnson a particularly tough matchup? You guys obviously spend a lot of time practicing against each other.
Yeah, that's my boy Sheem. We've been going up against each other for, 3-4 years now, every day. You know, he's a very physical guy. He's from Philly. You know, he's hardworking. He's smart, too. He knows exactly what he's doing on that football field, and he's going to play fast no matter what. He's going to always play fast.
Were you guys close when you were at Ole Miss?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How has that just kind of eased your transition coming to Eugene?
Yeah, so actually when I first got the call from Coach about coming here, I called Sheem up, and he was one of the first people I talked to, and he's like, bro, like you're gonna love it here. If you come here, they love you. The connection here is different. You know, a lot of the things we do differently here, and you're gonna love it a lot. And I truly have seen that since the day one since I've been here, and I couldn't have asked for a better place to be.
Have you guys had any particularly kind of memorable matchups so far this fall?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was actually one this past scrimmage where it was 4th and 2. Caught the little shovel pass or whatever and got the first down. And then I was wrapped up on the ankle. Tyshim came in and hit me in the back, you know, gave me a little bit. I was like, hey, man, what you doing? But it was good. I talked to him after practice. I was like, what you doing? I'm like, come on. He's like, man, you know, I'm just playing fast and everything. I was like, I got you. You know, I'm just messing around. So it's all love at the end of the day. We all just want to get better. Everybody wants to get better. You know, coming into fall camp, you know, tensions rise a little bit between offense and defense. But, you know, we're just all trying to make each other better, and that's what makes this team great.
Having played in the same conference as Bo before, I'm curious, just what's it like? I mean, maybe having certain preconceived notions to now being on the team with him, being in rooms with him. How's that changed for you?
Yeah, I love Bo. I mean, he's a great team leader. He knows exactly what he's doing. He communicates to you. Kind of, you know, if you have a problem or a question about, what should I have done on that route? He's going to tell you exactly what you need to do and exactly where he wants you to be. And, you know, I played against him a few times when he was at Auburn. And when we went to Auburn on Halloween, his team actually beat us. And that was sad. We were talking about that game and everything. But, no, I'm super happy he's on my team. I'm super happy he's my quarterback, and I can't wait to make a run with this team.
Have you guys seen the billboards of Bo?
No, the bodacious one? Yeah. I was talking to him about that. I was like, it's pretty cool, man. Not bad having a billboard in New York City, huh? Yeah, no, he's like, I just picked the right school, man. So, you know, credit to him, man. He's a great competitor, great ball player. He's going to get our players in the position we need to win every single game, and we all have full confidence in him. And, you know, we're super happy we have a Heisman candidate in our room.
Your brother just had 400 yards in a CFL game. How cool is it to see him balling out this season?
Yeah, you know, I love my brother. We talk every day, and, you know, we just expect each other to do this stuff, you know. You know, we've been doing this for our whole life, and, you know, we just want each other to succeed in what we're doing because we know how much hard work we've put into this and, you know, how much extra time we've put into this. And finally seeing him to kind of come to a rise and see where he wants to go is a great blessing.
That's Casey Kelly talking with the media. He chatted about someone who came from Ole Miss to Oregon the same way that he did on the other side of the ball, and that's Tyshim Johnson, the guy that they call Sheem, has been turning a few heads and has gotten some praise, including from his fellow Ole Miss turned Duck counterpart. So we heard from Casey Kelly. Why not hear from Sheem? Here he is.
From a lot of guys who've come in particular, that learning this defense is a challenge, a lot of verbiage, a lot of formations. This guy who wasn't here in the spring, all right, what's the learning process been like?
It's actually been kind of good. At first, it was definitely pretty much challenging because definitely like NFL style defense. So it's a lot of new knowledge and terms and checks to a lot of stuff. So you got to really be in your playbook, and I've been getting the hang of it now.
And you're kind of the quarterback of the defense there at free safety.
At safety, yes, sir. Yeah, they funny as shit.
Have you kind of settled in at either deep safety or nickel, or are you still working at both? Or
Actually, yes, I'm still working at both.
What's your preference? What feels natural to you?
I'll play whatever, honestly. Whatever to get me on the field, do whatever best for the team. Free safety or star, wherever I'm needed, I'll be that.
Dan said that the defense performed better in the second scrimmage. Just how do you feel like you guys did as a group?
I feel like we did good. Definitely better than the first scrimmage. We got to clean up how we finish in drives, but that's something that we'll work on in these practices and things of that such. So we'll be all right.
Got a couple times playing in Onsen now. Obviously, no fans, but what's that experience been like for you? Just trying to actually getting in there.
Well, it's actually been good. Different. Not really what I'm used to at a new stadium. So I'm just looking forward to see how it is with all the fans there and everybody going crazy.
What have you learned about what the secondary can be like through those scrimmages?
I learned that we got depth. A lot of us is experienced back there. A lot of young guys is stepping up to the challenge. So depth could be our friend in the future.
Who are some of the young guys that have popped for you?
Dalen Austin, like Colin Gill, Rod Pleasant. Who else? Another safety, I would say. This is a freshman. Can't really think of it, but they all been growing and getting better every day, and we seeing it.
What does Nico bring in that nickel position in particular?
A good cover guy because he used to play in corner, so he could come in and lock up in the inside. That's what he could bring.
What's for a fan who doesn't necessarily know the nuance of all that? What's the difference for you as a guy going back to safety versus a corner moving over?
The difference for me is would be like the covering aspect. As a safety, I wouldn't say you in man-to-man coverage a lot. You pretty much gotta come down, run support too, play over top. As a corner, it's kind of similar if you're in a covering phase, but it'll be different once it's like a running attack or something. They got to get used to tackling, and corners don't really tackle as much, so that would be the difference right there.
Is Nico working primarily on the outside or on the inside? Is he moving between both?
He been moving same as me, both outside and inside.
What's the communication like between you and Evan in particular in the backfield there? Just
every
two new guys.
Every play, it's just crazy because me and him got a connection. Every play we out there talking. If one of us down one day and the next one bring the injury to get the other person up. So me and him got a great connection back there talking. Can't wait to play with him.
Is that something that just kind of organically happened once you guys started playing together? How did that come about?
Because when we first started, we wasn't really together as much. So once they put us together and start playing, we kind of created like a bond, and it just was like we was glued together.
Tysheem Johnson talking about the defensive secondary for the Ducks, a secondary that has a few new faces and, according to him, has some depth as well. When we come back, we're going to be talking volleyball. Their season gets started this weekend in Hawaii, breaking it all down when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center orthopedic doctors are located here in Eugene and are the official orthopedic team physicians for your beloved Oregon Ducks. Joining us today is Dr. Lucas Korchak, a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon at Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, discussing playing with injuries. How common is it for athletes to play with an injury?
At the high level of participation these athletes endure, it's probably more common than not that they're playing with at least some mild injury. Simple things like joint sprains or abrasions or even blisters is something that they're learning to play with and adapt to.
When you're playing with an injury, what sorts of safety precautions should you take to prevent it from getting worse?
I think the most important thing for these athletes is their relationship with their athletic trainers. Having an understanding of what their injury is and what the potential for making that injury worse is very important for the athlete to understand, and that trainer relationship is critical.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Korchak.
Thank you for having me.
That was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, the official orthopedic sports medicine team physicians for University of Oregon Athletics since 1967.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We are just over 24 hours out from volleyball season starting, and the team, they have touched down in Hawaii. If you were at the exhibition versus Portland State, great job, everyone. The Couriers were the team that took all of the donations for the Maui wildfire relief efforts and brought them to Hawaii by themselves. That just happened. These are some of the donations that were brought in. Great job, Duck fans. Way to show up to the scrimmage and help out what is a really important cause. One that Carson Bacon talked about it last week. I thought that she could have said it much better than I did. That's on the volleyball socials. But great job, Duck fans. Way to get in your donations. I want to break down sort of where volleyball is at coming into the year, where volleyball left off last year, because even I, with all of these sports going on, can lose a little bit of the context. So let's play what was our end-of-season video for last year while we recap sort of where the team left off and where the team is coming into this season, because last year it was a strong year for the Oregon Ducks on the court. A 26-6 overall record last year. 9-2 in non-conference play, only 2 losses in non-con, both to top 20 teams. Oregon then in conference play went 17-3 last year, only losing 3 games. Those 3 came consecutively, and it was 3 games without their setter, Hannah Pukas. When Hannah Pukas was on the court, Oregon went undefeated in conference play. The Ducks, even with those 3 losses, finished second in the pack, only behind Stanford. After those 3 losses in conference play, Oregon won 16 matches in a row, spanning from the middle of conference play all the way until the Elite Eight, which is where Oregon would finish their season. Some huge wins for the Ducks on the volleyball front of things throughout the year, and none more than the Sweet 16 victory, which brought them into the Elite Eight match against Louisville, where Oregon would take it to 5, but ultimately drop in that match, which would end Oregon's season in the Elite Eight. Some key departures from last year's team, Gloria Mutiri, Brooke Nuneviller, they were both honored on senior night. They both graduated. Carson Bacon also honored. She is coming back for this year. The Ducks added a few key members to this team as well through the transfer portal. Added outside hitter Gabby Gonzalez from Ohio State. That was an all Big Ten second-teamer last year, a key part of the Ohio State offense. And also a transfer middle blocker, Kara McGee from Baylor, who was an All-American honorable mention. So some cavalry coming in for Oregon to help out this team and to replace some really, really talented and special Ducks in Gloria Mutiri and Brooke Nuneviller. The Ducks, they also return all Pac-12 players Hannah Pukas, Georgia Murphy, Carson Bacon, and Mimi Collier as they march into the 2023 season. 4 games in August. There aren't going to be any games at home until conference play starting on September 22nd. But look at the way that Matt Ulmer scheduled this year. Starting off the season with San Diego, that was a Final Four team. You have Minnesota, Ohio State, Pitt, Marquette, all in the non-conference schedule. In total, it's 2 Final Four teams, an Elite 8 team, 2 Sweet 16 teams, and 2 more tournament teams that Oregon is playing in the non-conference. Matt Ulmer scheduled tough. The first game at Matthew Knight Arena is going to be the 22nd of September when conference play opens versus Oregon State, but that is not going to be the first time that Oregon plays in Matthew Knight Arena. The Ducks did it for the scrimmage. That came over the weekend, last weekend, and a really nice piece put out earlier today by the volleyball socials team. They had a microphone on Georgia Murphy. She was mic'd up for the game, and I really liked seeing her play on the court and her communication with her teammates. So let's hear from the libero, Georgia Murphy.
Yeah, no, I never sit. Never mind. Superstitious. I'm mic'd up. Against my will. Come on! Cover! 2! Yes! Nice cover! Good day! Out! We love it! I love the karate chop! I like it! Mine! Come on! Mine! 2 up! Oh, you good? Yeah. Almost had ya. Because you're killing it. What's 5 more? You're already at 10. Colby 3. Ah! Penny! Mwah. Sorry. Are you going right back? Yeah. Oh, little switcheroo. Run! So cute. I just want to squish her. She's like Bambi out there. Right here, Colbs. Let's go. Did they just bark at us? Who barked? Let's keep it clean. Let's go.
Ducks on me. Ducks on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Great hearing from Georgia Murphy on the court during that exhibition against Portland State. Ducks won that, by the way, 4-0. Oregon in action on Friday versus San Diego. It's a top 13 matchup with 2 teams who made it to the Elite 8 last year. So it's going to be a great start to the season for Oregon Volleyball. We'll get a timeout. We'll come back on Duck Insider. And when we do come back, it's going to be Oregon soccer tonight, as well as some more football news to touch on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back on Duck Insider. Ryan Milano in the Country Financial Studio. It is game day for Oregon soccer, the start of their first road test of the season, a 4-game road stand, opening it up in Fayetteville against the 10th-ranked Razorbacks of Arkansas. And Graham Abel scheduled tough over this non-conference slate, starting with that Arkansas team that made it to the Elite Eight last year. This is a very good team and a team that is very good at home. So a test in front of the Ducks. Also Missouri State on the schedule for Oregon this weekend. They won their conference last year. And in this road stand, Northern Arizona, a team that's projected to win their conference this year. So a difficult start to the season for Graham Abel and his squad, but some experience to be battle-tested early for a group that is pretty young and trying to build together. So a test in front of them coming up tonight against Arkansas. That will be on SEC Network Plus, and the time once again at 5:30 local here in Eugene, 7:30 local there in Fayetteville. Also football. 17 players named to the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list. A few transfers, a few familiar faces, and it's watch list season. I could get to them all, but we just don't have time. There's too many of them on these watch lists. There's so many watch lists. And maybe we'll break it down tomorrow. Jerry Allen on the show tomorrow to talk some Duck football. Until then, watch some soccer. Go Ducks. Have a good one, everyone.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few